Clear skies overnight. We did have some cloud across Northern Ireland through this afternoon, but that will melt away, leaving some clear skies here as well. It will be a chilly night to come, especially across the north under those clearer skies, but further south it will still be a little bit mild. Some places staying above double figures as we head towards Tuesday morning. Now, there will be some mist and fog patches early on, especially in prone spots and around water courses. But like I said, a mild start across the south, maybe a little bit chillier across the north, where we may see some grass frost and just a bit of a frost on some vehicles at first thing in the morning. And there are a couple of showers just across Scotland as well first thing, but they will move through rather quickly as we head through the morning. Any grass frost that does develop will melt away pretty quickly, like I say, as that sun does come up, and those temperatures will just continue to rise as we head through the day. There is some cloud across the west, especially across Northern Ireland and western Scotland, so sunny spells may turn a little bit hazy through the afternoon, but temperatures again on the warm side, around 21, possibly even 22 degrees as we head towards the afternoon. Now, Wednesday is going to be another similar day, another warmer day as well. Temperatures may even be a little bit warmer on Wednesday than compared to Tuesday. Still a bit of cloud around across the west, so still got that milky influence, but it will be a bright day across the country with highs of around 24 or possibly even 25 degrees.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's a prize package worth over £92,000. There's a totally tax-free £25,000 in cash that you'll be able to spend on anything you like this year. Plus, you'll also get to drive away in a brand new Benevan 122 camper van. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this latest 2026 model comes fully loaded with everything you'd expect. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck!
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every week there are stories that shape the national conversation.
We'll be discussing that.
And on Saturday Morning Live, we break them down.
Is that true? This is fascinating, isn't it?
The politics, the headlines, the debates everyone's talking about.
And the questions that you want answered.
Do you think that was a legitimate attack for him to make?
What led you to set up this fantastic movement?
You know what? It's a great question, Olivia.
So what are you waiting for?
Your weekend starts here. Saturdays at 10 a.m, only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GBNews does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, a GB News exclusive. I reveal how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And...
Should we go in? This is wild, bro. I'm recording the whole thing.
Lawlessness is out of control, but Waitrose sack a man who tackled a shoplifter. Plus...
We've had to do what is responsible to fix the foundations and rebuild our country.
Road tax up, council tax up, TV licence up, water bills up, money for foreigners claiming benefits up, and...
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
Well, President Trump talks tough on Iran, and the National Gallery turns a Christian saint into a transsexual Asian person. Why not do something like this for the Prophet Muhammad?
The incident from Monday, 22nd of March, must also be investigated from a criminal perspective, yes, given that it was a clear attempt to stir up religious hatred.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Plus, breaking news.
From the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth.
Artemis 2 has broken Apollo 13's record and has now flown further from Earth than any human crew in history. On my panel tonight, we have got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, former Tory advisor James Price, and broadcaster Kai Wilshaw. Plus, just when you think the world couldn't get any more mad.
But when a thing like that happens, where a pilot shot down, in most instances, you're really not able to go in, because you'll go in with 200 people and lots of jet fighters and helicopters, and you really don't have a chance.
Absolutely love it. I love it. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Sacking people for tackling shoplifters. A new low. Next.
Very good evening to you. More from Patrick in the next few minutes. First, though, the headlines. The crisis between the United States and Iran is escalating sharply, with Donald Trump tonight warning the country could be taken out in one night, adding that that night might be tomorrow. The US president says Iran now has just hours left to strike a deal, confirming he's extended his deadline to 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, or 1 a.m. Wednesday here, to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He's threatening to destroy power plants and bridges and send the country back to the Stone Age if it fails to act, repeating that the entire country can be taken out in just one night.
We're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and after that, they're going to have no bridges, they're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah, Stone Ages.
Meanwhile, Iran has formally rejected a US-backed ceasefire, instead demanding a permanent end to the war, sanctions relief and safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz in a new 10-point plan. Donald Trump, though, says that proposal is not good enough, although significant, and has criticised NATO allies today, including the UK, for refusing to support his mission.
I'm very disappointed in NATO, very. I think that NATO, I think it's a mark on NATO that will never disappear in my mind. You know, they're coming to see me on Wednesday. They're going to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Now they all of a sudden want to send things, you know.
But they said it loud and clear at the beginning when I spoke to UK of all. I would have said they would have been the first because they're the oldest. And I say, yeah, I'd love to have a little help. He said, no, sir, we'd rather wait till you win. I said, I don't need help after we win. They have 2 old, broken aircraft carriers, barely work.
Well, tonight, astronauts on the Artemis 2 mission have made history, travelling further from Earth than any humans ever before. The 4-person crew on board the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, has now passed the Apollo 13 record set in 1970, pushing beyond 252,000 miles from Earth. They've begun their lunar flyby, with astronauts describing what they called a rare moment of seeing both the Earth and Moon together from deep space. Speaking on board, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen said the milestone honours past missions and challenged future generations to go even further. The spacecraft will now pass within just over 4,000 miles of the Moon before making its way back to Earth. Here, the government has scrapped the 2-child benefit cap, claiming the move will lift approximately 450,000 children out of poverty. It's part of a wider package to tackle the cost of living, including expanding statutory sick pay to more than 1 million workers and introducing day 1 paternity rights. The state pension will also rise by up to £575 a year, with Sir Keir Starmer calling it one of the proudest moments of his government. The Conservatives, though, have criticised the decision. They're warning it could cost billions, reward worklessness and leave working families picking up the tab. And the NHS is urging patients not to delay treatment, even as resident doctors are set to begin a 6-day strike from tomorrow. Tens of thousands are set to walk out for the 15th time in their long-running dispute over pay and working conditions. Health leaders say contingency plans are now in place, but GPs on the ground say staff shortages are already leading to what they've described as substandard care. Those are the 9 o'clock headlines. Plenty more with the news at 10.
Good evening. In Britain, people are being sacked for tackling shoplifters now. Waitrose sacked Walker Smith, who had worked for them for 17 years, because he tried to stop a prolific shoplifter stealing a load of Easter eggs. Mr Smith grabbed the thief's bag, the bag ripped, an egg was damaged, the bloke legged it, and Mr Smith then threw a bit of shattered chocolate in the direction, not of the thief, but of some trolleys. Now, Mr Smith's statement makes him sound like the model employee. He said that Waitrose was like a family to him. He acted out of sheer frustration after witnessing shoplifting, quotes, every hour of every day for the last 5 years and being told we're not allowed to do anything. He said security had been scaled back and now shop workers were left on the front line. He said that he was crying inside after they escorted him out of the building and might now be homeless after his sacking. His Waitrose store is in Clapham, the same area that we saw this at an M&S. This is part of a wider pattern of lawlessness, and this happened in Milton Keynes over the weekend. And look at this at a Sports Direct, and the police just seem to be hanging around doing nothing.
Well, Fed's doing nothing, bro. Fed's doing nothing.
Shoplifting is up 65% in the last 2 years. There were 20 million cases last year, yeah? 20 million cases last year. 55,000 a day or so. Shoplifting now costs UK retailers an estimated £2.2 billion annually, which translates to roughly 133 quid extra on the average household yearly shopping bill. So you are paying for this lawlessness. We've got cheese in cages. We've got steak in a plastic prison. Cheap bottles of wine with security tags on. You can't even go and buy some dairy milk Oreo without having to crack into it. I mean, you've got tubs of Lurpak with security tags on, for goodness sake. Going shopping in Britain is like an episode of Crystal Maze. Stores like Home Bargains are now using cardboard cutouts of police officers to deter shoplifters. Oh, they'll never figure that one out, lads. Genius. I mean, if only we'd had cardboard cutouts of police officers on every street in Rotherham and Rochdale, we'd never have had a grooming gang crisis. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? Does anyone think this works? I mean, when I walk into Tesco's now, I look around and I wonder, why am I even bothering to pay for anything? At my local Tesco Express, there's a tiny little woman who stands there with a high-vis jacket and a body cam on, practically waving at smackheads as they fill their bags up and leg it out without paying anything. It's ridiculous. And they do it because they know that they'll get away with it. And it's not just shoplifting. Police failed to solve 92% of burglaries last year. 92%. Our politicians, they just keep telling us that things are all right. Well, Sadiq Khan's armed police left a bag full of weapons, including a submachine gun and a pistol, just lying around on the street outside his house. That was on the same night that this was happening just down the road in Clapham. Can you imagine what could have gone wrong there? Seriously? Also, it's very well for Sadiq Khan to say how safe London is, when clearly now we know that he's flanked by blokes with submachine guns and he drives around in an armoured car at all times, so I bet he does feel it's very safe. But I do have a major gripe with Waitrose. So, by sacking that bloke for just doing the right thing and stopping a shoplifter, they have revealed something terrible. They've given the message that you can basically go into Waitrose and take whatever you want. Staff are not allowed to intervene. And what does that mean? It means that law-abiding customers who are already paying way over the odds for everything are charged more to cover the losses of the shoplifting. Apparently, Co-op is doing the same thing now. They have a no-intervention policy on shoplifters. Look, if we don't care about shoplifters, then what's the point of caring about the lads who stand outside your house and smoke weed all night? Or the bloke who doesn't pick up his dog's poo? Or the person who eats in his car, then chucks the McDonald's bag out the window and drives off? Or fare dodgers? This stuff just tears at the fabric of society. What's the point of telling your child that all of the above is wrong if every single time they leave the house, they see loads of other people doing it? It's decline, isn't it? We've lost our sense of shame. Now, I don't want shop staff to just put themselves at risk. I'm not saying that they should be tackling all shoplifters, but this is a very specific case we have here, isn't it? We have a fully grown man who is capable of making his own decisions, who's decided to put his foot down one day out of a sense of civic and professional duty, and he's been sacked, and now he might be left homeless. And in case you're wondering, no, it doesn't actually look like that shoplifter has been arrested. Walker Smith should get his job back and get a pay rise. Let's get your thoughts on my panel. We've got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, former Tory Special Advisor James Price and GB News contributor Kai Wilshaw. James, your views on the Waitrose sacking?
I think you hit the nail on the head. What does the message send now to anybody else who wants to go into Waitrose? Without outing myself as a big Waitrose fan, I've seen shoplifting happening in the one in Finchley Road, not a million miles away from this studio. And you see it happening, and I saw this guy brazenly walking in, grabbing a load of steak, grabbing blocks of cheese, for God's sake, and put them in his coat pocket and just sauntering out. And I went up to a security guard and I tried to explain it, and the guy didn't care. I think we've got to the point now where you're seeing a lot of these guys. I mean, great that you've got a cardboard cutout. Maybe qualified to be Ayatollah of Iran, but not to be a security guard. And you've got these ideas, I think they're now calling them urban scarecrows, right? This idea that people will stand there in a shop in the middle of a city and just do nothing, right? And once crows realise that scarecrows don't move, they're not good for anything. What happens when you've got these guys here? But I think it is a smaller part of a wider problem, exactly again as you say, which is the loss of legitimacy that the state is now starting to experience. And this, I think, happens going back through the centuries, if you want to do it like this, and seeing that breakdown of law and order. First, small little bits, fare dodging, pushing through barriers at the tube if you're in London, throwing a bit of McDonald's out the window, again, exactly as you say, and that emboldens people to do more and more and more, especially if you're going to see people start really young on it. And again, those scenes in Clapham and all over the country, if you can't stop the kids doing it at this age, they are more likely to turn to more violent things as time goes on and end up becoming potentially even career criminals. I did the numbers of this. Back in 2009, so the number must be much much, much higher now, cost about £1.5 million over the course of a career criminal's life, right? And that's all the in and out of the system, all the rest of it, before you even start nicking steaks or anything else.
Yeah.
I expect that number is a lot higher now.
Absolutely.
And that cost is not just therefore borne by people shopping in Waitrose, it's borne by everybody watching it who pay their taxes.
Absolutely, yes. And it's not just happening at Waitrose. This will obviously be happening right across the board. It's just that Waitrose happens to have gone viral. Chloe, do you think Waitrose have made a mistake sacking this guy?
Absolutely. This guy should be seen as a hero. He is the one who has tried to help Waitrose save money and not have stock taken off of their shelves that hasn't been paid for. They should be very damning of the man who is a criminal who has stolen, but instead they don't seem to care about him, and it is the guy who tried to do the right thing that is being sacked. And Waitrose, they've put out a statement saying, oh, we've got a strict policy because we've had other cases of employees getting hurt when they've tried to do this before. But this guy, as I say, he's a grown man capable of making his own decisions. He knows that he is putting himself at risk when he's doing that, and he has done that for the sake of doing the good thing and the right thing. And people do feel like they have to take it into their own hands when the police don't bother to turn up. And I mean, as you say, James, often these stores, they employ security guards, but I don't even know why they bother, because the security guards, I see it all the time when I go into Tesco. The guy, he stands there, he's had a job for years and never been fired, even though he just crosses his arms whilst people walk out with bottles of booze and all sorts. And sometimes I'll point it out and they just go, not bothered.
Yeah. They'll be there just to take an insurance point, by the way.
Exactly.
Right? That's all it will be.
But the Tesco Express that I sometimes go to on the way home from work has a shoplifting quota for the day. So when I finish here at midnight, I'll sometimes drop by. It's supposed to be 24/7 if I, want to get something, a little bit of late night snack. Quite often it'll just be shut, because they've hit their shoplifting quota for the day and they'll just close. You still get petrol there, but you can't go in and get whatever tasty treat I was after, but probably better for my waistline. But anyway, Kai, what do you make of this? Do you think that they've dropped a bit of a clanger sack in this guy?
Yeah, look, I think probably he'll be reinstated, right? Because the public uproar about this, he's raised £4,000 through a fundraising page that somebody else started for him, Chris Philp, Ian Dale, and people coming out in support. It seems like perverse incentives, frankly, doesn't it? That they're more concerned about making an example out of this guy who, despite doing the right thing, obviously you don't want to give rise to other staff members putting their lives at risk, right? And the one quote that stood out to me, they said, "Nothing we sell is worth risking your life for." And that's fair enough. But when you amplify that, magnify that by times 1,000, 10,000, however many times shoplifting happens across this country every day, and it's a really highly visible crime as well, no wonder not only do people get angry and think, as you said, why do I bother paying for anything anyway, but also inspires more people to do exactly that, to steal, and it becomes this sort of a vicious cycle.
One of the things that really wound me up online was some people's responses to this, Kai, which was, instead of asking, about should we prosecute the shoplifter? Ask why people need to shoplift in this current climate. That really winds me up. And I saw it, and it had like 100,000 likes on X, and I was like, oh, come on. It wasn't in there like, with the best one in the world, I still don't think this is okay, but he wasn't nicking baby formula or nappies, was he? No. He was nicking some Lindt chocolate bunnies.
Exactly. And look, this water boundary doesn't help anyone. I think the left does it quite a lot, right? But it can still... We can have a discussion where we can agree that there's a reason why acquisitive crimes like thefts and robberies and shoplifting are up at a greater rate than other types of crimes. And you can link it back to cost of living, right? But not everybody who's suffering and unable to pay their bills is going out and shoplifting, right? Yeah. It's also true that gangs, for instance, now fresh off the back of, now we're suddenly not able to do mobile phone theft, because that's down a significant amount the last year because of special efforts on that type of crime. They can't do that, so maybe gangs are shoplifting more as well. And there's also a cultural point here where I think shoplifting is seen as one of those things you can get away with because it's hurting a big brand.
Right.
That's not
I
the
think
case.
the main reason is obviously because there are simply no consequences.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but
yes,
surely you can understand as well. There are some people that
maybe
are lumped in there.
1% it's to do with cost of living,
Go on,
but 99% of it is just because there are no consequences. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know that there have to be negative consequences for bad behaviour in order for you to stop that bad behaviour from happening. And I think the thing that the government really doesn't understand, they can look at it and go, oh, it's only a tiny amount of money, but people hate unfairness. It's the same reason why this annoys people is the same reason why people are annoyed about, for example, example, migrants being put up in hotels who haven't worked a day in this country, paid any taxes at all in this country. It's that deep sense of unfairness. As you say, why do I bother going to work? Why do people bother paying their taxes and getting up every morning when you could just, rather than work to pay for your lunch, walk into a shop and take it out, because that's what other people are doing.
But also, I'm sorry, but I don't know, we keep being told simultaneously by the left that it is a national scandal that we have so many food banks, and then at the same time being told that people still need to go into a Waitrose and steal Lindt chocolate bunnies. I mean, the two things, it just doesn't add up. But practically, what should we do about this? Because, go on,
Right, it was exactly the right question. Because once you let these things fall apart, right, the kind of core tenet of small c conservatism is that things are very easy to destroy, whether it's buildings or social constructs. Things are very hard to build and to maintain. So when you start losing that kind of social fabric, you're going to have to do things that some people are going to find very unpleasant in order to get back to it. You look through, again, England's history. I mean, Henry II, after the anarchy, we're talking, what, the 1140s or something?
It's gone right back.
Right? He had to... Things got so unpleasant that not only would you have your foot chopped off, you'd have your foot and your hands chopped off. Now, I'm not suggesting we should go to that. Right? I was there. I'm that old. Or people were being shipped off to Australia and hanging for a lot of things, all the rest of it, right? In order to try and get the level of peacefulness and the kind of social mores that we, all of us watching this and sitting here, think it's unacceptable to do this stuff, partly because things were so brutal in the past. And if you get to a level now, you're seeing around in Clapham there, and you're seeing how widespread this is, you're going to have to do stuff that feels pretty draconian and unpleasant in order to get back to what all of us think normal should be.
I also just find it absolutely astonishing, by the way. This is probably the most high-profile case of shoplifting in recent times, and he was described as a prolific and regular shoplifter, so they must know who he is, and that so far the only person who's faced any consequences is the bloke who stopped him. It's remarkable, isn't it? But a Waitrose spokesperson said, "We take the safety and security of our customers and our partners incredibly seriously, and to do this, we have policies in place which our partners are aware of and required to follow. In reference to the point on guarding, we make absolutely sure that our shops have appropriate levels of guarding, and this is constantly adjusted according to the level of risk." Right, OK, all right. Anyway, look, I've got loads more coming your way, but it's time now for the Great British Giveaway, and it's 3 Lindt chocolate bunnies with a security tag on, but one of them is smashed and we don't know how. Anyway, here's what's really on offer.
This Easter, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest prize of the year so far. Your chance to win over £92,000 worth of prizes. First, you could bank an incredible £25,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like this summer. And that's not all. You could be driving away in this brand new Benivan 122 camper van. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this latest 2026 model comfortably sleeps 4, has plenty of storage, and comes complete with a built-in kitchen and bathroom. Imagine where you could take the family in this stunning home from home. You really could win this prize package worth over £92,000. But you've got to be in it to win it. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Coming up, massive GB News exclusive for you. I reveal how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. By the way, one of them was only in the country for a couple of months before he started raping kids. But before that...
Have you spoken to Keir Starmer's son also? Do you believe the UK could resurrect like Jesus this Easter weekend?
Well, that's what they need. They have a long way to go. The UK has a long way to go. We don't want another Neville Chamberlain. Do we agree? We don't want Neville Chamberlain.
Look, another blow for the special relationship. President Trump compares the Prime Minister to Neville Chamberlain. Plus, speaking in the past few hours, President Trump has given a big update on the war in Iran. I'll get you the latest in just a few moments' time.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Every week there are stories that shape the national conversation.
Well, to be discussing that.
And on Saturday Morning Live, we break them down.
Is that true? This is fascinating, isn't it?
The politics, the headlines, the debates everyone's talking about.
And the questions that you want answered.
Do you think that was a legitimate attack for him to make?
What led you to set up this fantastic movement?
You know what? It's a great question, Olivia.
So what are you waiting for?
Your weekend starts here. Saturdays at 10 a.m, only on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth.
Well, yes, welcome back. That was the moment that Artemis 2 broke Apollo 13's record, flying further from Earth than any human crew in history. More on that shortly. But first, the breaking news in the past couple of hours. Speaking at a press conference to celebrate the rescue of a US airman from Iran, President Trump has warned that the regime over there can be entirely broken in just one night. Here it is.
Very historic. This is a rescue that's very historic. It'll go down in the books. Late Thursday night, an American F-15 fighter jet went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well, well at a level that nobody's ever seen before.
Well, that came just hours after the president launched another attack on Sir Keir Starmer as he spoke to GB News' very own Ben Leo during an Easter Monday event at the White House.
Have you spoken to Keir Starmer, and also do you believe the UK could resurrect like Jesus this Easter weekend?
Well, that's what they need. They have a long way to go. The UK has a long way to go. We don't want another Neville Chamberlain. Do we agree? We don't want Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah, so look, obviously there he's criticising Sir Keir Starmer and the lack of action. He waded in again on NATO as a whole as well. He said that they're meeting him on Wednesday. Very disappointed with the UK. But I mean, I think one of the key messages to take away from all of this, though, is that he is saying that he could wipe out Iran entirely within like 24 hours and that the clock is ticking for Iran. I think we can go now to White House Bureau Chief at World Media. It's Kate Jones. Kate, thank you very, very much. Pleasure to have you on the show. So, do you think that we are about to see shock and awe for Iran, the likes of which we've never really seen in the coming hours, or maybe 24 hours anyway?
Yeah, so 8 p.m. is the deadline, and the message is extremely clear. But it is possible that they come through a negotiation. You know, the time is right now. The president has said, yes, shock and awe, and the damage will be great. We'll break you, or we can build you. And they don't want to do it. But that's what the president is saying.
He basically said, well, in fact, he literally said as well, that everyone's going on about the Strait of Hormuz, and the only thing that Iran's really got going for it in that regard is the psychological idea that they've laced it with load of mines, which he thinks isn't necessarily true anyway. So he is adamant. And to be fair, this rescue would indicate that Iran is now pretty powerless. I mean, they flew 2 separate missions over Iranian airspace, largely, not entirely, but largely unopposed for around 7 hours each before being able to go and rescue a US airman that was injured and hiding up a mountain for nearly 2 days. I mean, it does beg the question, why doesn't America just finish the job then?
Well, I think the intention has been to destroy the capabilities, the nuclear capabilities, the mission launching, ballistic missile launching capabilities, and to sort of gently go across this without having to put troops on the ground. But that certainly, they're showing the capability of doing that. You're right. The insertion that they did to go and take out these 2 airmen was pretty extraordinary, and all that under deep fires. You know, they've got man pads that are launching shoulder-guided heat-seeking missiles at these airplanes. They're able to attack them, and look, this is a serious mission. But when you see the coordination of the MQ-9 overhead with the laser pointers on targets and the ability to remove these men deep behind enemy lines, yeah, they should be questioning whether or not it's a good idea to continue.
Well, quite well. It's funny you should say that, actually, because literally right now, I've just had a breaking news line through. Iran's top joint military command says that Trump's threats are, quote, delusional. So you don't buy that?
Well, I think both sides are playing psychological warfare here. And the reality is, if you put troops on the ground, American service people are going to die. We know that. And they know that the psychological effect of just a few deaths is pretty extreme. But coming up to this deadline, yeah, this is a great deal of pressure. It says that we can insert into your territory, and they can show that this is something that they can do over and over again. But the reality is, war, people die, and it's highly destructive, and both sides are playing a game right now of really chicken.
Well, quite. I sat through pretty much all of President Trump's press conference today. Some remarkable things were said there. I mean, he obviously said that the special relationship is essentially in tatters between the UK and the US, that we only have 2 clamped-out aircraft carriers. One thing, just speaking for myself here, really, which is that, you know, I can't believe we've got a Prime Minister who won't do one of 2 things. Either cosy up to Trump a bit more, or B, come out and say, don't you dare disrespect our military personnel like that. And he's not doing either of them. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, can you imagine if someone said to President Trump, if someone slagged off the US military, President Trump will probably invade them, right? And Keir Starmer over here, he just won't do anything. I mean, President Trump has been getting stuck into our brave military for a very long time, and he might be right about our capabilities or lack of. Don't get me wrong, we've underfunded the military for a very long time, but we have got a leader who seems absolutely content to let the leader of the free world slag off our personnel in our military and do absolutely nothing about it. And it is remarkable. But I do just want to play you this clip, though, because I must say, this is one of the many reasons why I could never, ever, ever leave the news industry. It's because of clips like this.
But when a thing like that happens, where a pilot shot down, in most instances, you're really not able to go in, because you'll go in with 200 people and lots of jet fighters and helicopters, and you really don't have a chance.
It's just the Easter Bunny there, as he's talking about it. Does he know? Is he in on the joke, do you think?
Absolutely. I'm sure he's in on the joke. But let me say something nice about the UK military. You have an exceptional Navy with some exceptional capabilities doing coordination and control. And there's really nobody like the British Navy when it comes to demining. There's some great autonomous systems. And particularly coordination. It's true, things are a little rusty. There's been a deterioration of a number of forces, but they still are the leader. And I think some of the bullying you're seeing that's coming from President Trump is asking the UK to step up and actually do the patrolling of the Strait of Hormuz, because they're really the best in class at it.
Well, maybe we've got the wrong bloke in charge for that, I'm afraid. But, Kate, thank you very much. Tremendous to see you. Kate Jones there is the White House Bureau Chief at World Media. Right, look, coming up, this is a big GB News exclusive for you. I'm going to reveal exactly how much you, the taxpayer, have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And again, I will say this, one of them was only in the country for a couple of months before he started abusing children. But before that, the National Gallery has turned a Christian saint into a transsexual Asian person. Why not do something like that to the Prophet Muhammad? Well, I think we know why, don't we? Is there a double standard here? That's next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Lots of fine and settled weather across Europe, plenty of sunshine and some higher temperatures, but I'm afraid if you're heading to Spain and Portugal for the Easter holidays, we are expecting some rain. We've got an area of low pressure just starting to drift its way eastwards, could bring some rain across Portugal and parts of Spain, a little bit heavy at times, but elsewhere mostly dry, settled, particularly across Greece where we have had some heavy rain recently, and the dry, settled weather is set to continue into next week with temperatures widely pushing into the low 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. There's going to be plenty of sunny skies over the next couple of days and temperatures are going to be on the rise as we head towards the middle part of the week. It's going to be a bit of patchy cloud around, but it's not going to ruin anyone's day as we head through the week. High pressure out towards the southeast, which is keeping this low pressure towards the northwest away, and we are expecting some clear skies overnight. We did have some cloud across Northern Ireland through this afternoon, but that will melt away, leaving some clear skies here as well. It will be a chilly night to come, especially across the north under those clearer skies, but further south it will still be a little bit mild. Some places staying above double figures as we head towards Tuesday morning. Now, there will be some mist and fog patches early on, especially in prone spots and around water courses. But like I said, a mild start across the south, maybe a little bit chillier across the north, where we may see some grass frost and just a bit of a frost on some vehicles at first thing in the morning. And there are a couple of showers just across Scotland as well first thing, but they will move through rather quickly as we head through the morning. Any grass frost that does develop will melt away pretty quickly, like I say, as that sun does come up, and those temperatures will just continue to rise as we head through the day. There is some cloud across the west, especially across Northern Ireland and western Scotland, so sunny spells may turn a little bit hazy through the afternoon, but temperatures again on the warm side, around 21, possibly even 22 degrees as we head towards the afternoon. Now, Wednesday is going to be another similar day, another warmer day as well. Temperatures may even be a little bit warmer on Wednesday than compared to Tuesday. Still a bit of cloud around across the west, so still got that milky influence. But it will be a bright day across the country with highs of around 24, possibly even 25 degrees.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. So why is it okay to mock Christianity, but not Islam. Time for head-to-head. The reason I'm asking this question is because a new exhibition at the National Gallery in London has decided to depict the Christian martyr, St. Sebastian, as an Asian transgender man. So according to tradition, he survived an initial execution attempt during which he was bound and shot with arrows before being clubbed to death. But the artist, Ming Wong, has reimagined that narrative using transgender models. So the exhibit includes performative art and video installations where trans models can be seen playfully wrestling, caressing each other, and even performing a martial arts routine. But tonight I'm asking, look, why is it OK to do that? I mean, I would say it's mocking. I suppose they would say it's art, but anyway, mocking Christianity and not Islam. Is there a double standard here? Going head-to-head on this now are human rights lawyer Tasneem Akunji and Catholic commentator and journalist Caroline Farrow. Thank you very much. Tremendous to see you both. Really appreciate it. Caroline, I'll start with you. Do you think there's a double standard here? Is it OK to mock Christianity but not Islam?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also just want to talk a bit about St. Sebastian, because he wasn't just... He's not a myth. He's not some fashion model. He was a captain of the Praetorian Guard. And this was a man of such immense courage that, as you said, after surviving an execution attempt, he walked back into the jaws of death to stand up for his beliefs. And so to take a man who was literally, and we have the historical facts on this, he was literally beaten to death for a specific objective truth, and to reimagine him as this non-binary symbol of 21st century secularism, it's not creative, it's historical vandalism, and it's a complete erasure of this actual man's life. And it's also, I think, calculated act of institutional cowardice. We all know what's going on there. They know that the National Gallery knows that by attacking one religion, that we're kind of like a safe target. It's a double standard.
Okay.
They're brave when they think it's safe and silent when it's not.
Well, on that, Tasneem, I mean, I'm very keen to get your views on this, obviously. I mean, I suppose there would be more consequences, and we can see that from things like Charlie Hebdo or Batley Grammar. If someone was to do an exhibit at the National Gallery that dared to poke fun at the Prophet Muhammad, for example. Your views?
Well, in terms of the law, this country has decided, in what it thinks of as wisdom, is to allow people to be quite as offensive as that, and offensive at prophets and gods and what have you. And generally, a population who, revere their god or their famous saints will be provoked into a backlash that one would expect if somebody, dishonoured your mother or father in that way. You could expect that sort of backlash. And it's because there's been a muted, I guess, response from a community that's been traditionally much more passive about these things. That is exactly why I agree with your other guesses, why they've picked a soft target. But frankly speaking, it's disgusting, in my view, to depict anyone as anything other than they were, particularly when there was somebody who was defending their own honour and the honour of a faith. But this is gratuitous, frankly.
So Tasneem, just to be clear on that, I mean, do you think that it probably is fear of something like Charlie Hebdo that would stop the National Gallery doing something about, the Prophet Muhammad or Allah or something?
Well, I mean, if the National Gallery tried to run this exhibit in the Congo or in the DR, or in Kenya, or in Brazil or any of the Latin American countries, I'd imagine that exhibit wouldn't last very long either. Those are countries that have populations that are much more, let's say, emotionally charged towards their faith than, let's say, the more northern European countries.
All right, go on, Caroline.
Well, it's interesting, actually, because there was a very similar exhibition in Mexico, and my organisation, Citizen Go, we had a petition and a campaign against it, and said, and lots of members of the local population signed the petition. They went out, they protested against a university, because it was a university that I can't remember the specifics, but they were depicting a Christian saint in a very similar way. I think it might actually be Mary, who we revere as Mother of God. They were portraying her as being transgender, and we were told we were being far right. All the different names were thrown at us. And we were told it was completely unacceptable to have a strong reaction to your faith being mocked in this way. And of course, I think Christianity. We don't tend to get violent, and I'm not suggesting for one moment we should. Our faith tells us you will be mocked, you will be hated, you will be persecuted. All these things will happen to you. This is the life of being a Christian. But we aren't. We don't rise up like that. And when we do protest and say, hang on a minute, this isn't right, this is really good. I think your word's correct. It is gratuitous. It's gratuitously offensive. Then, we get the pushback for being far right or for being oversensitive. And actually, I think there needs to, I'm not one for gratuitously offending any minority because of their faith or their culture. But I think there needs to be, the law needs to perhaps deal with things more equally. So we see someone being arrested for burning the Quran, and the CPS aggressively going after him. Whereas actually, when Christians stand up for their faith, if they stand silently in the street and pray, then they get kind of carted off and the book thrown at them.
All right. Okay, Tasnim. Now that the National Gallery have done this, and and I'm not saying that they should do what I'm about to say, but now that they have done this, and for all intents and purposes got away with it, if they did do something about Muhammad or Allah or something like that, do you think the Muslim community would have to take that on the chin because basically the Christians have?
No, not at all. I think the issue is that people behave as individuals. They don't behave collectively under one religious edict. And so you're going to get a civilized response, and you're going to get from some members of the community an uncivilized response. But it appears that the uncivilized response has much more of an impact in the positive direction in terms of avoiding these things than a more genteel response. So take of that what you will, really. It's not an ideal situation, but people shouldn't be gratuitous in their offence, really.
All right, look, both of you, thank you very much. It was less of a head-to-head and more of quite an interesting discussion, actually, I thought, but that's good. Right, thank you very much. Human rights lawyer Tasnim Akunji there, and Catholic commentator and journalist Caroline Farrow. Now, GB News has approached the National Gallery for comment, but we are yet to hear back, shockingly. Anyway, coming up, look, very serious story, this. It's an exclusive for us. We're going to reveal exactly how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And it's just an astonishing story, this, all round. But before that...
Yeah, from the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth.
Well, that's it. Artemis 2 has broken Apollo 13's record. They've flown further from Earth than any human in history. I'm hoping that we're going to get some unbelievable pictures coming in the next few minutes of the far side of the moon, and see if you can spot the best piece of advertising that the world has ever seen. I'll be back in a sec.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co. with you.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christys here.
GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device, and as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Now, some breaking news in the past couple of hours. Artemis 2 astronauts have made history and travelled further from Earth than any humans ever. The Orion spacecraft's 4-person crew has passed the Apollo 13 distance record of 248,655 miles from Earth. We all knew that. That's a pub quiz question, isn't it? Set in 1970, and they continue on to 252,760 miles. So the astronauts are conducting a lunar flyby that is set to make them the first humans to see some parts of the far side of the moon with the naked eye. And their closest approach to the moon will be 4,070 miles. Now, here is the reaction of the crew as they broke the record.
Yeah, from the cabin of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we, most importantly, choose this moment to challenge.
Yes, I'm joined now by space and planetary scientist Andy Lound. Andy, thank you very much. Now, can you explain to me, please, how they've gone further than Apollo 13? Because I don't quite get it, because they both went round the back of the moon, although I don't think Apollo 13 was supposed to.
Yes, I mean, Apollo 13 was on the free return trajectory because there was an accident on board, and they decided to do the free return, so they allowed themselves to drift beyond the moon further than they would normally do if they're going to go into lunar orbit. The design of this spacecraft is deliberately to go well beyond the moon, to do a wide pass around the moon. And the order for that was so they could actually do what they're doing at the moment, able to see part of the far side of the moon in daylight for the very first time, allow them to make observations and to be able to look at the moon. So the moon isn't really very close to them. It's quite distant from them. They say it's the size of a basketball held at arm's length to them. And that way they can do a lot of observation and study from that distance as they're making the wide track around it. In theory, you could go a little bit further wide, but they thought this was the method they wanted to do to get them back into position to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere on Friday.
And I think that is part of what we're looking at there towards the other side of the screen, which is the current view, I believe, from Artemis 2, as well as obviously the control rooms back at base. Andy, I was reading with some interest, actually, that one of the things that they may capture is exactly what the Chinese flew into the far side of the moon some years ago, because there appears to be a little bit of a mystery around that. I think they thought that there was a slightly larger crater created by the Chinese landing than they were expecting.
Yeah, that's quite possible. They're looking for any type of features. The Chinese landing a vehicle onto the moon into an area where there was a crater. the impact that the spacecraft would make wouldn't be enormous, but they might be able to pick it up on the 400mm lens that they're actually zooming in on, and because they'll be analysed once they get back, so they'll look for that. But the descriptions that they've been sending back to us, I mean, we were there for the launch and we got quite excited about the launch. But to be quite honest, the most exciting things have been happening tonight, with the astronauts describing what they can physically see with their eyes, the different colours on the moon, which of course we don't see down here from the Earth, and the variation of brightness, albedo, which they're seeing in different parts of the moon, which could indicate where there's ice on parts of the moon, or where there's interesting materials that have been blasted up from underneath the surface of the moon. So there's some fantastic descriptions coming on, and the photographs, which will be downloaded hopefully tomorrow, are bound to be unbelievable.
Absolutely. Look, Andy, thank you very, very much for coming on and, yet again marking this great feat of human endeavour. I do want to just bring our viewers this, though, because this has got to be the best bit of viral marketing that you've ever seen. Here it is.
Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen will be up first to capture imagery and record audio on the portable computing devices.
You see the execs at Nutella now. Oh, yes, get in, fantastic. I mean, you could not pay for that kind of advertising unless, of course, they did. But yes, amazing, just a tub of Nutella. Anyway, coming up, look, much more serious stuff. I'm going to reveal exactly how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And also, we've got some more doom and gloom for the economy and the papers.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. There's going to be plenty of sunny skies over the next couple of days and temperatures are going to be on the rise as we head towards the middle part of the week. It's going to be a bit of patchy cloud around, but it's not going to ruin anyone's day as we head through the week. High pressure out towards the southeast, which is keeping this low pressure towards the northwest away, and we are expecting some clear skies overnight. We did have some cloud across Northern Ireland through this afternoon, but that will melt away, leaving some clear skies here as well. It will be a chilly night to come, especially across the north under those clearer skies, but further south it will still be a little bit mild. Some places staying above double figures as we head towards Tuesday morning. Now, there will be some mist and fog patches early on, especially in prone spots and around water courses. But like I said, a mild start across the south, maybe a little bit chillier across the north, where we may see some grass frost and just a bit of a frost on some vehicles at first thing in the morning. And there are a couple of showers just across Scotland as well first thing, but they will move through rather quickly as we head through the morning. Any grass frost that does develop will melt away pretty quickly, like I say, as that sun does come up, and those temperatures will just continue to rise as we head through the day. There is some cloud across the west, especially across Northern Ireland and western Scotland, so sunny spells may turn a little bit hazy through the afternoon, but temperatures again on the warm side, around 21, possibly even 22 degrees as we head towards the afternoon. Now, Wednesday is going to be another similar day, another warmer day as well. Temperatures may even be a little bit warmer on Wednesday than compared to Tuesday. Still a bit of cloud around across the west, so still got that milky influence, but it will be a bright day across the country with highs of around 24, possibly even 25 degrees.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Everything you need to enjoy a super summer could be on us this year, as you could drive away with this very latest Benivan 4-berth campervan. This campervan is fully equipped with its own kitchen, bathroom, dinette and plenty of storage. We'll also get your summer sorted with a further £25,000 in tax-free cash that you could spend however you like. For another chance to win a campervan and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck!
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. No. Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, it's a GB News exclusive for you. I'm going to reveal exactly how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And by the way, no, there is very little chance of a deportation by the sounds of things. And
we've had to do what is responsible to fix the foundations and rebuild our country.
absolute baloney. Road tax up, council tax up, TV licence up, water bills up. That's all today, by the way. Oh, money for foreigners claiming benefits up. And should this guy be banned from Britain?
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger.
Yes, well, actually, in the last few moments, the person who runs Wireless Festival, where Kanye West is due to perform, has backed it and said, actually, he is definitely going to remain headlining. I'll have all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages for you. Breaking news on the front of The Independent. Consultants warn of weeks of chaos by striking doctors. I suppose the question there is, will he be able to tell the difference? On my panel tonight, we have got political commentator Chloe Dobbs, we've got former Tory advisor James Price, and GB News broadcasting sensation Kai Wilshaw. Plus, just when you think the world couldn't get any more bonkers.
But when a thing like that happens, where a pilot shot down, in most instances, you're really not able to go in, because you'll go in with 200 people and lots of jet fighters and helicopters, and you really don't have a chance.
I love it. I love it. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. It's a bad day to be a hard-working, law-abiding British citizen. Next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom. The top story tonight at 10. Iran has hit back at Donald Trump's threats, calling them delusional and warning they won't erase what it describes as America's humiliation in the Middle East. It comes as tensions are continuing to escalate tonight, with the US president warning Iran could be taken out in just one night, adding that night might be tomorrow. Donald Trump says Tehran now has until 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, 1 a.m. here on Wednesday morning, to strike a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. If not, he's threatened to destroy key infrastructure, including Iran's power plants and bridges.
We're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and after that, they're going to have no bridges, they're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah, Stone Ages.
Meanwhile, Tehran has also rejected a ceasefire proposal. Instead, they're demanding a permanent end to the war, sanctions relief too, and safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz in a 10-point plan handed to Washington. The president has also criticised NATO allies today, including the UK, for refusing to support his mission.
I'm very disappointed in NATO, very. I think that NATO, I think it's a mark on NATO that will never disappear in my mind. You know, they're coming to see me on Wednesday. They're going to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Now they all of a sudden want to send things, you know. But they said it loud and clear at the beginning when I spoke to UK of all. I would have said they would have been the first because they're the oldest. And I say, yeah, I'd love to have a little help. He said, no, sir, we'd rather wait till you win. I said, I don't need help after we win. They have 2 old, broken aircraft carriers, barely work.
A long way from the White House, astronauts on NASA's Artemis II mission have made history tonight, travelling further from Earth than any humans ever before. The 4-person crew on board the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, has now passed the Apollo 13 record set in 1970, pushing beyond 252,000 miles from Earth. They've begun their lunar flyby with astronauts on board describing the rare moment of seeing both the Earth and the Moon together from deep space.
As we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth, we do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear.
And the spacecraft will pass within just over 4,000 miles of the Moon before it turns and heads back here to Earth. Well, in other news, the organiser of Wireless Festival has defended the decision to book Kanye West, urging critics to show forgiveness. It follows growing backlash over his headline slot in July, with sponsors already pulling out and politicians raising concerns over his past anti-Semitic remarks. Festival Republic's managing director Melvin Benn says West's comments are abhorrent, but insists giving people a second chance is a lost virtue. He says the festival is not offering a platform for those views, as the government continues to review whether the rapper should even be allowed into the UK. And the NHS has said patients should not delay seeking care, even as a 6-day strike by resident doctors in England begins tomorrow. Tens of thousands will walk out from 7 a.m. in the 15th round of industrial action in their long-running dispute over pay and job conditions. Health leaders say the NHS is still open for business, with senior doctors covering shifts. But we are being warned tonight the disruption could be particularly challenging following the bank holiday weekend. You're up to date here on GB News. Plenty more still to come with Patrick.
Good evening. It's a terrible day to be a law-abiding, hard-working British citizen. Do you remember when Keir Starmer stood on the steps of Downing Street the day after winning the election and said this?
You have given us a clear mandate, and we will use it to deliver change, to restore service and respect to politics, end the era of noisy performance, tread more lightly on your lives, and unite our country.
Tread more lightly on your lives. Yeah, well, here are the taxes and costs that have gone up today. Council tax. Most households in England and Wales will see an average increase of around 5%. For a typical Band D property in England, this adds approximately 111 quid to your annual bill. 7 councils in England have been granted permission for higher rises of up to 9%. Road tax. Standard yearly road tax has increased from 195 quid to £200 for vehicles registered after the 1st of April 2017. The death tax for farmers. Farmers with an estate valued at more than 2.5 million quid will pay 20% inheritance tax on anything over that threshold. Now, the National Farmers Union claims that that will include 75% of commercial farms. Your TV licence, it's increased by £5.50 to 180 quid so that you can keep paying for Hamas propaganda documentaries and rampant left-wing bias. Water bills. Average annual bills in England and Wales are rising by 5.4%, about 33 quid, whilst in Scotland they're increasing by an average of 8.7%. Mobile and broadband. Most providers are implementing annual mid-contract price rises today, typically ranging from £1 to £4 extra per month. And before people say to me, oh, the government hasn't got anything to do with broadband and mobile prices, look, companies are saying that they need to hike their prices because of increased energy and staff costs. So there you go, that very much is on the government. There's also some other taxes that are just coming in today. The benefit-in-kind rate for electric vehicles has risen from 3 to 4%. The dividend tax rates for basic and higher rate taxpayers have increased by 2 percentage points. Oh yes, self-employed people earning more than £50,000 a year will now have to submit their accounts to HMRC 4 times a year, which is great for the accountants, isn't it? Less good for you. This is on top of the taxes that Labour has already increased. Number 1, employers' national insurance. Number 2, private school fees subject to 20% VAT. Number 3, stamp duty. Number 4, capital gains tax. Number 5, corporate property tax. Number 6, business rates. I've missed out a few there, but let's be honest, we haven't got all day, have we? So basically, if you work hard, drive a car, run a business, use water, have a phone, own a farm and selfishly decide to die, live under the jurisdiction of a council, you watch television, you're self-employed, or you want to move house, there's a very good chance your life has just got worse. Now, isn't there a name for these people? I think, what are these people? They work hard, they drive a car, self-employed. I think they might be working people.
Labour has no plans to increase taxes on working people.
We made an absolute commitment in relation to not raising tax on working people.
We have been very clear that for working people we are not going to increase their taxes. So that means we are not increasing income tax, national insurance or VAT.
We've been really clear in our manifesto about the taxes that we won't increase. And we're not going to increase the taxes that working people pay, their income tax, their national insurance and their VAT.
Gosh, it's almost like they just weren't telling you the truth, isn't it? It's like they just lie to everyone, isn't it? Oh, gosh, it's remarkable. But here are the big winners today. People on universal credit, their benefits rose by 6.2% today. Now, some of those will be in work, some of you will not be able to work for various reasons, and I'm absolutely not calling you all lazy, bone-idle, feckless, work-shy shirkers. But as of June 2025, there were approximately 1.3 million people receiving universal credit in Great Britain who were non-UK or Irish nationals. And if you include foreign-born individuals who've since become British citizens, the total number of people on benefits who were born abroad rises to around 3.4 million. So it's a good day for foreign people as well, who have decided to have kids they can't afford. The lifting of the 2-child benefit cap came into force today. This will disproportionately benefit Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Somali and other black African families. Well, it's a good day for people who, get a job and then immediately want to call in sick, isn't it? You are now entitled to sick pay from the very first day of work. Remarkable. Anyone who can't see that this is a massively open to abuse scheme clearly has the same visual ability of Stevie Wonder in a very dark room. 72% of GPs have said that they have never refused to sign someone off work due to their mental health. They've never refused it. Amazing. Men can now get a job and take paternity leave from day one. This is all made much worse, of course, by the fact that now we have 325,000 more unemployed people under Labour. 5.2% of the population. Youth unemployment is at 16%, but more than this, as of April 2026, that's now, approximately 12% of children in the UK are registered as having a disability. So their parents will almost all be getting benefits for that. And what's going to happen when millions of people who are working their backsides off and just scraping by realise that they can do just as well by not working? Under Labour, it does not pay to do the right thing and at least try to be successful. Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. Political commentator Chloe Dobbs, former Tory Special Advisor James Price, and GBNews broadcasting sensation Kai Wilshaw. James, I've just seen a stat here from an economic expert called Rob Moore. You need to earn £135,000 a year in the UK to take home the same monthly pay as someone receiving full universal credit, which is £6,142 a month. Remarkable.
You said that guy's name was Rob Moore. It sounds like that's Rachel Reeves' policy, isn't it? Yeah. To rob more from us all the time.
No.
We didn't plan that one before, I should say.
It just rolled off, didn't it? Yeah.
It's the only kind of gallows humour I've got left when you realise just how much they're lying to us and, frankly, stealing from us at this point. You cannot, I think, have a legitimate government that comes into office saying, we're going to tread a little more lightly on your lives, and then do this to us, right? There is only so much more flexing you can have in this system before it starts to grow, and we're already seeing that. Right? There is something called the Laffer curve in economics, the idea that broadly says if you keep trying to increase taxes, there will be an optimum limit of the amount of money you can actually raise before the money starts actually going down again. Why is that? Well, because people just stop bothering to work, exactly as you say. They'll start hiding money somewhere else, they won't bother doing some extra shifts, they won't bother starting that new business, they'll hide money away, they'll move abroad, all these things. And what Labour seems to be now doing, almost like accelerationism of trying to get us to a point of economic collapse, because people will just stop working now, more businesses will have to shut up shop, they'll all go bust, all the rest of it. My only hope is that this is some kind of clever 4D chess by Rachel Reeves, because she might know that the International Monetary Fund cannot bail out both us and the French and some other European basket cases, and maybe if the British economy collapses first, we can get the IMF bailout money. But I suspect she's not even as cynical and smart as that.
Yeah, it's just staggering. Chloe, there's a lot of people today who are worse off, and there's a lot of people who are better off. And the ones who are worse off, by and large, are the people who are working hard, abiding by the law, and are born and bred British citizens.
Yes, absolutely. And it is, as we were talking about previously with shoplifting, it is this deep sense of unfairness that is really frustrating the British public at the moment. And when people, they haven't voted for this. I mean, they were sold a complete pack of lies by the Labour Party in their manifesto. They were told we're not going to put up taxes on working people. Of course, it was debatable what working people exactly was defined by, but I think it's quite clear that they have breached their manifesto pledges, if you ask me. And I think that, as James has said, economically, this just makes absolutely no sense, and we are heading towards collapse. But this is what happens when you have got a Labour Party, a Labour government cabinet, where you haven't got a single entrepreneur in the cabinet, unless you include James Timpson as the prisons minister, who's not actually an MP. But generally speaking, you have not got any entrepreneurs there. They have no idea how businesses work, and it also doesn't help that they don't go out and speak to local businesses. I mean, we've had pub owners speaking to GBNews saying, Rachel Reeves, please listen to us, please come talk to us, please understand our worries. And they're just not interested at all. They just stay in their Westminster bubble and listen to some advisors that give them clearly not very good advice at all.
Come on. The MPs don't go to any small businesses ever.
I'm
that's
not saying
nonsense.
ever, but
that's nonsense. You know that's nonsense.
Of course, there was a slight hyperbole, but generally speaking, I don't think that they are in touch.
Do you think
I think their constituents and the businesses, it is small businesses.
On that point, sorry, do you think we've been lied to here by the Labour government?
No, I don't. I think, were they playing word games with us when they wrote that manifesto? Probably yes. I think every politician...
Change was the word on the front of it. Change.
Sorry. Nigel Farage is doing exactly... Nigel Farage is currently doing exactly the same switcheroo, isn't he, with regard to tax rises and what counts as tax rises. We won't go there, right? National insurance, VAT, income tax remain unscathed. But it's amazing what framing does in arguments like this, isn't it? Because you talk about essentially what is a benefits handout, right? And it's the Sun, the Mail, GBNews have been coming out saying that this is just a benefit street accelerated for a new Labour age. But actually, a few things here. 100 kids per day were being thrust into poverty by this cruel policy that is now not enforced, right? This is going to take 1.5 million kids out of poverty.
So on that, what's the evidence to say it's going to take it out of poverty? Because that money goes to the parents, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what's to say that those parents don't spend that on a nice meal out or a holiday?
Well, the government and the state isn't in the business of telling people what to spend their money on.
But
40% of these affected families have one disabled person in the family. 27% of those families have a disabled child in the family, and a large portion of them also have one parent in work. So this framing of them as scroungers is entirely disingenuous. And the other thing that you forgot to mention in your monologue, of course, and that is absent from all of these analyses as well, who else has benefited disproportionately today? It's pensioners, isn't it? 12 million pensioners are getting 600 quid more per year under this Labour government. But we don't hear about that because it doesn't fit this narrative, does it?
I think for me, the reason I didn't really mention that is that, by and large, those pensioners will have worked hard all their lives and paid into the system, unlike the 3.4 million, was it, foreign-born people who've come here and now are claiming universal credit, who will have a 6.2% uplift today.
But what about the kids in poverty who are not going to be in poverty throughout their lives? Who have now the chance to... And we know the impact that has on kids in terms of education, skills...
You rightly said there's a lot of wordplay going on here. When you talk about poverty, it might conjure up the image in some people's minds of starving children with maggots eating their eyeballs, people living in absolute poverty. What you're talking about here is a measure of relative poverty. This is very different. And because the way that the government measures the word poverty, you can never actually reduce poverty because it's pegged to median salaries. So what all this ends up being is a total redistribution of wealth from people who are generating wealth and working hard from richer people. Well, people who, not necessarily rich people, working people, actually, ironically, for how the Labour Party describes this, people who actually go out there and generate that money, because the government doesn't have any money of its own, by the way. The only money out there is taxpayers' money, and then it gets redistributed to these people with these different measures of it. And if people are in genuine, actual, absolute need, aka they can't put food on their table and the rest of it, there's not a single person in the country who would deny helping those people, to the point where by 2030 we're going to spend £400 billion a year on welfare and benefits and all the rest of it.
Much of which is pension.
So it looks like we're pretty... Lots of pension as well, and I think it's a fair point you make on that. But I think that, in general, it's pretty disingenuous to say that anybody who resists extending the two-child benefit cap or any other benefit wants to put children into poverty, because I think that's wordplay at its lowest.
And that's what Keir Starmer did at the PMQs after this budget for Benefit Street. I know you don't like that wording, but it is what I will call it. And he was standing on his moral high horse saying to the Tories, how dare you evil people not want to help children in poverty, when he had previously had the whip removed from MPs for
supporting it.
Look,
Exactly. So...
But it's people at the moment. I think there's a lot of people who are in households where both people work, who have got one child, for example, can't afford to get a bigger place at the moment, which is prohibiting them possibly from having 2 or 3 children, which they would like to have, who are being squeezed left, right and centre, and they are now looking at people, many of whom were not even born here, who can just have as many kids as they want, don't feel anything like the same compulsion whatsoever to go to work or contribute to society, and they are doing better today under this Labour government than those law-abiding, hard-working British citizens, aren't they?
Yeah, look, clearly the middle class are going to be squeezed more. The taxes have to come from somewhere. The extra money has to come from somewhere. I think it is right that people like myself, or people who are being dragged into higher income tax thresholds, I think it's right that they're paying more for the people who have much, much less than them.
Why?
That is, well, because we have a state that allows for us to lift all boats.
Look,
and also, alongside the government's measures to try and make work pay, look, jury's out on whether it'll work, but they are trying to make efforts to get people off a lifestyle of benefits and of welfareism, which I think is wrong, and try to get them into work as well. And if that works alongside supporting the poorest families in the country, then I think that's a good thing.
The only way this stuff is going to work is if you get economic growth going again. Because at the moment, there's been no economic growth. Labour say they want it. They don't want it, obviously, because they do everything they can to prevent that economic growth. And when you don't have it, people do get mean and nasty. It becomes redistributive. It goes from you and me and people at home to the rest of them. If you had economic growth going, there would be more benefits to give around, or more opportunities, and that's the only way that you can improve life.
And Labour needed to make the difficult argument to people that we're going to have to be patient before we can improve the NHS, hand out more benefits. If that genuinely was a good thing, they need to say we need to get the economy growing first and then do that. But they wanted to offer everything right after the general election, and now they're paying the price.
OK, all right. Well, look, this may well end up being on the front pages, so we can return to to this topic, but yeah, I've got a lot more coming your way. It is now, though, the Great British Giveaway. It's the chance to have a 5th child and the taxpayer will pay for it. Oh, no, it's not. It's a camper van. You can fit 5 kids into this if you want.
This Easter, we're giving you the chance to win our biggest prize of the year so far. Your chance to win over £92,000 worth of prizes. First, you could bank an incredible £25,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like this summer. And that's not all. You could be driving away in this brand new Benivan 122 camper van. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this latest 2026 model comfortably sleeps 4, has plenty of storage and comes complete with a built-in kitchen and bathroom. Imagine where you could take the family in this stunning home from home. You really could win this prize package worth over £92,000. But you've got to be in it to win it. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've just got some breaking news for you, actually, and it's on the front of tomorrow's newspaper. The UK will refuse President Trump access to British military bases for strikes on Iran's bridges. So there you go. Keir Starmer cares deeply about Iranian bridges, as presumably does Lord Hermer, and we will not be helping the Americans strike any bridges. First, though, massive GB News exclusive for you. I'm going to reveal exactly how much you have paid these Pakistani rape gang monsters in legal aid. And by the way, in a competitive field, these two are amongst the worst. What they did was the most depraved, and one of them was only in the country for a couple of months before he started his vile campaign of child sexual abuse. All that and more next.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Sunday with Michael Portillo. Goodwood Castle in North Wales was once envisaged as a royal palace for Wales, but after years of neglect became a ruin. A fresh programme of conservation work, supported by the National Lottery, aims to restore it. Lady Marina Cochrane, whose family last lived in the castle in 1924, joins me now. It's so lovely to see you. Tell me about your family's connection to the castle.
Of course, thanks for having me, Michael. So my great-great-grandmother, Winifred Cochrane, used to live in the house up until 1924, and she didn't pass it on to my family, actually. She passed it on to the royal family and, alternatively, the Church of Wales. So as a family now, it's been quite interesting coming onto the project. So I'm helping Mark Baker, the historian and custodian of Greek Castle, who I believe you've met, restore it now into sort of its rightful space and hopefully into a museum. So we're going to relocate some of the art collection that was once there.
You talked about the staircase, for example.
Yes.
Can that, I mean, that must have been a glorious piece, must be hideously expensive.
Yeah.
Can we expect that to be restored in due course?
I hope so, to some extent. Right now, if we can't find stuff at auction, we'll be able to replicate it somehow with copies and other materials. That will be hopefully part of my job as well, to sort of really find other ways that we can replicate what the house really was before.
You talked about a collection in the context of Mark Baker. What is the collection and where is the collection?
So, my great-great-grandmother was an amazing Victorian lady for her era. She collected a lot of female artists.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Every week, there are stories that shape the national conversation.
Well, to be discussing that.
And on Saturday Morning Live, we break them down.
Is that true? This is fascinating, isn't it?
The politics, the headlines, the debates everyone's talking about.
And the questions that you want answered. Do you think that was a legitimate attack for him to make?
What led you to set up this fantastic movement?
You know what? It's a great question, Olivia. So what are you waiting for?
Your weekend starts here. Saturdays at 10 a.m, only on GB News.
Welcome along. Breaking news tonight. GB News can exclusively reveal that at least £150,000 of taxpayers' money was spent on the legal aid costs of two cousins who groomed and sexually abused 5 vulnerable girls. Manzoor Hussain and Imtiaz Ali, who were in Greater Manchester at the time of their attacks, were sentenced to a total of 58 years in prison in December last year. They were convicted of rape and indecent assault. Ali, who hosted sick sex parties and allowed other men to prey on the young girls, had 71,111 quid's worth of legal costs covered by you, the taxpayer. He began the long term of abuse only a short time after he arrived in Britain from his native Pakistan. His cousin Hussain also arranged for a girl to perform sex acts for strangers and was provided with nearly £80,000 to cover legal costs. This means the paedophiles had fees of 149,888 quid covered by you, the taxpayer, through the legal aid scheme. But according to the Freedom of Information request obtained by GB News, costs to the taxpayer may be higher still. For both men, the legal aid agency says they are not yet in receipt of all the claims from all the legal representatives. I'm joined now by grooming gang survivor Fiona Goddard. Fiona, thank you very, very much for joining us. What do you make of this, that the taxpayer is funding their legal defence?
Obviously, I believe that everyone needs to have a fair trial, but I think it's quite insulting when you consider the fact the government said the compensation scheme for victims was too expensive and victims are denied compensation repeatedly. And then also the fact that he's just arrived from Pakistan before starting to break our laws and abuse children. If people are coming to this country to break the laws, then why are the countries that they're coming from not then build their legal expenses instead of the taxpayers?
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely fair question. I mean, look at the state of them, seriously. And just to think that that guy flew in from Pakistan and within months was attending, you know, what would be described as child sex abuse parties. I mean, it's absolutely sickening. And you think that Pakistan should be paying for his legal aid?
Yeah, either that or they can bill him and he could pay it off once he is released. But obviously people like that shouldn't even be released in the first place. But I think it's really unrealistic to keep expecting taxpayers to pay for legal aid bills for people that have literally come from another country and within months started abusing children. One of the only reasons he must have come over here was to do these type of depraved acts in the first place. So then why do we constantly have to foot the bills for that? And like I say, the fight that survivors have just to get compensation through criminal injuries or any other means it's outrageous anyway, and the government's comments about it being too expensive to fund the compensation scheme recommended in ICSA, it yet again feels like the government are showing that perpetrators are consistently more important than the victims. It's just another kick in the face, I think.
You actually make such a good point about this compensation scheme, because it's impossible for people to claim that this is a minor issue, that, you know, oh, it was just a few girls in a few places around the UK, while simultaneously saying that the scheme, the compensation scheme for victims, will be too expensive. Because the only reason it's too expensive is because there's so many victims and survivors. See, this is the inherent kind of mental gymnastics that people are having to do. But could you just explain, Fiona, to the viewers and listeners who might not have heard about this potential compensation scheme? So what is it that you know you were kind of hoping for, and what were you told then?
So through ICSA, it was recommended that there would be a compensation scheme to recompensate victims. Many of the victims lost out on education, career aspects, they've had to move repeatedly, they've lost their belongings, they've got lifelong injuries, therapy costs and stuff like that. But it was deemed by the government it'd be too expensive to do so it was dropped from the ICSA recommendations. So survivors are having to fight and battle, and before that, they were denied on grounds that they had criminal records, even though the criminal records consistently came from the abuse itself. So every which way, survivors have had to fight battle over battle just to be compensated on the years of their lives and their prospects that have been taken away from them, while the perpetrators are given legal aid. Like my perpetrators, it was hundreds of thousands of pounds that they were given in legal aid, whereas 7 years after the prosecutions, I've still not received no compensation.
So your abusers were given hundreds of thousands of pounds, you know, through the medium of legal aid, as it were, which obviously they don't personally see, but covers their legal costs so that they can try and wriggle out of it, whereas you have not received a penny in compensation for what you went through. I mean, that just sums up everything about Britain at the moment. And I will just say as well, I think this compensation issue, it was under the Tories, and I think that is probably why the Conservatives didn't want to do anything about this when they were in office, and it is a little bit two-faced of them now, I think, to come out and say that they're full square behind this, because they did have the chance, and I think it was that compensation issue that maybe prevented them from doing it. Just lastly, Fiona, on this, you said something that stuck with me a bit there, which was about how this particular bloke came from Pakistan, and you think he might have come here essentially just to abuse kids, and it you know, his actions would suggest that maybe that is the case. Do you think that the reputation of Britain in parts of Pakistan is that as a man you can come to Britain just to abuse kids?
I do think there is a degree of it. My number was sold to people in Pakistan during my abuse, and I used to get phone calls from people in Pakistan. So it was clear that the communication between people in Britain and people in Pakistan was there, and they were advertising us to the people in Pakistan, because it wasn't just like one or two. There were numerous people in Pakistan that would ring me. So I do think there is an element of that there.
And were they trying to get you to go to Pakistan?
Well, there was attempts to get me to go to Kashmir through my abusers. They tried getting me to sign myself out of care and get me a passport, because they wanted to introduce me to their family in Pakistan, in Kashmir. So there was an attempt to get me to leave the country, but for once, social services and the police did intervene and wouldn't let me get a passport or sign myself out of care, which is the only thing that probably saved me from global trafficking.
Good grief. Look, Fiona, thank you very, very much. I'm always just so grateful for your time and for you being such a strong voice, speaking out about all of this stuff. Really, you know, this nation does owe you a huge debt of gratitude. It's Fiona Goddard there. Thank you very, very much. Screaming Gang survivor. Look, a spokesperson for the Legal Aid Agency said legal aid is paid to legal representatives to ensure access to justice, and in criminal cases to ensure a fair trial. Anyone facing a Crown Court trial is eligible for legal aid, subject to a strict means test. And there's lots to go out there, isn't there, with the means testing as well. You know, do these blokes really have no money? Do they? Do they really have no money? Do their families have no money? Why can't we deport them? Anyway, coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and this is the big one, I think, so far. Keir Starmer is going to refuse President Trump access to Britain's military bases for strikes on Iran's bridges, something that President Trump threatened to do again today. More on that in a few minutes' time.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. Lots of fine and settled weather across Europe, plenty of sunshine and some higher temperatures, but I'm afraid if you're heading to Spain and Portugal for the Easter holidays, we are expecting some rain. We've got an area of low pressure just starting to drift its way eastwards, could bring some rain across Portugal and parts of Spain, a little bit heavy at times, but elsewhere mostly dry, settled, particularly across Greece where we have had some heavy rain recently, and the dry, settled weather is set to continue into next week with temperatures widely pushing into the low 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. There's going to be plenty of sunny skies over the next couple of days and temperatures are going to be on the rise as we head towards the middle part of the week. It's going to be a bit of patchy cloud around, but it's not going to ruin anyone's day as we head through the week. High pressure out towards the southeast, which is keeping this low pressure towards the northwest away, and we are expecting some clear skies overnight. We did have some cloud across Northern Ireland through this afternoon, but that will melt away, leaving some clear skies here as well. It will be a chilly night to come, especially across the north under those clearer skies, but further south it will still be a little bit mild. Some places staying above double figures as we head towards Tuesday morning. Now there will be some mist and fog patches early on, especially in prone spots and around water courses. But like I said, a mild start across the south, maybe a little bit chillier across the north, where we may see some grass frost and just a bit of a frost on some vehicles at first thing in the morning. And there are a couple of showers just across Scotland as well first thing, but they will move through rather quickly as we head through the morning. Any grass frost that does develop will melt away pretty quickly, like I say, as that sun does come up, and those temperatures will just continue to rise as we head through the day. There is some cloud across the west, especially across Northern Ireland and western Scotland, so sunny spells may turn a little bit hazy through the afternoon, but temperatures again on the warm side, around 21, possibly even 22 degrees as we head towards the afternoon. Now Wednesday is going to be another similar day, another warmer day as well. Temperatures may even be a little bit warmer on Wednesday than compared to Tuesday. Still a bit of cloud around across the west, so still got that milky influence, but it will be a bright day across the country with highs of around 24, possibly even 25 degrees.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. All the papers for you now for tomorrow. This is the big breaker, really. The iPaper has got the story of the UK will refuse President Trump access to British bases for strikes on Iran's bridges. We'll get you more detail on that. The Daily Express, doctors hold patients hostage with strikes. The doctor strikes, I believe, are due to start tomorrow. The Independent, consultants warn of weeks of chaos by the doctors' strikes. The Metro, emergency bike fares soar. Cheap lithium batteries bought online are blamed, as experts say more loss of life is inevitable. I believe this is exploding e-bikes. E-bike owners have been warned against buying bargain batteries online. They're causing a load of fires. So there you go, dodgy e-bikes, as if you couldn't hate cyclists enough. Let's go to the iPaper first. So just some more detail on this. This is Keir Starmer will reject any request from Trump to use RAF bases for infrastructure attacks, so bridges, like President Trump has said he's going to do. Yeah, I mean, this is it, basically. James, your views on this?
Well, I think this is yet again the Labour government being led by the Attorney-General, Lord Hermer, and this idea that what happens in international law is much more important than anything that might be in our national interest. I think that's very, very foolish, because one of the few things I used to give Starmer credit for was keeping Donald Trump happy and on side. Clearly, Trump likes the United Kingdom more than any president maybe ever has, and we could be using that to our great advantage, given the strength of the American economy, obviously America's enormous military leadership that it's showing here, regardless of the strategic side of of it, how impressive its hardware and kit is at the time when the world is getting more dangerous. And what are we doing instead? We are upsetting our best and closest ally, who we need if we're going to get out of the economic doldrums we've been talking about and to defend our island more effectively. And I think this is a big blunder yet again from this government.
I mean, to be clear here, we are talking about President Trump saying they're going to have no bridges, no power plants. I mean, complete demolition. He's not talking about civilian areas, particularly. He's not talking about, you know, carpet bombing, high-density civilian areas. What's your views on this, Chloe? Should we be letting him use RAF bases to do this demolition job?
I don't think that we should be giving Trump anything and everything that he wants, and that we do not want this to end up being some sort of World War III, everybody getting involved. So I understand the need for Starmer to be a little bit hesitant to get involved, but I think what's frustrated me is that he's been almost too hesitant and way too worried about international law, when it's not like the IRGC are concerned about international... They've probably never read a single line of international law in their lives, right? I mean, they'll happily bomb civilian areas and do whatever they want. It doesn't apply to them, so why do we have to be so protective of it? And I think that there needs to be a balance between obsessing over international law and recognising what is morally right, and that seems to be missing when you've got the country run by Starmer. Also, I do think that he's looking at the polls, which say that the British public do not want us to get involved in the war in Iran, but I think that there are some ways that we should help to protect the special relationship, which he's failing to do so. But also, I think that there are huge swathes of the Muslim community who support the IRGC, who like the regime in Iran, who do not want Starmer to get involved in this, and Starmer doesn't want to upset them and lose their votes after the Gorton and Denton result.
I feel like he needs to do one of two things, Starmer. OK, either do this, allow Trump to... But maybe take the view that we are actually, whether he likes it or not, we are at war with Iran, because Iran has decided that we are, and a bit of attacks to their proxy, Hezbollah, a British military base in Cyprus. There's also been instances of them spying on British military bases, like in the last few weeks, etc. And therefore allow Trump to do whatever he wants when it comes to using our military bases. Or he should stand up and do quite an impassioned, powerful, kind of Love Actually moment thing where he says, look, President Trump, I get that you might not like me personally, but I don't like you slagging off the British military. Because, OK, maybe Trump is focusing more on the hardware, but really, what Trump is basically saying is that Britain's military is weak, it's there for the taking, that we can't defend ourselves. Now, by the way, a lot of that might be true, don't get me wrong, but Starmer is... If I was in the military at the moment, I would want Starmer to be standing up and saying, don't you dare slag off the brave men and women who are in our armed forces. And he's just doing neither, Kai, is he? He's just doing neither.
Yeah, as always with this Prime Minister, it's sort of too late, or too little too late, right? I do think, however, I mean, as you say, I think he is looking at the polls and seeing that as vindication of his approach. Not only that, you talk about what's morally right. This is exactly the kind of thing that we should, in any scenario, be against, because what Trump is talking about is, number one, against the rules of war and against what is a war crime by what most people consider it, targeting civilian infrastructure, targeting energy infrastructure, bridges in particular. Like, it is something that we've seen Russia use very effectively against Ukraine.
What about the crimes that Iran commits, slaughtering 40,000 of its own people?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I agree with that. But it doesn't mean that then we give Trump a carte blanche to do whatever he likes, which seems to be what he wants. The other thing to make very clear is that the Iranian regime's objective is simply survival. And the way they're achieving that is through chaos. And so this escalation by Trump will just mean another escalation by the Iranian regime. The people who will lose is the Iranian people and actually many people across the Gulf, because they're going to lash out at Gulf allies. This is not the way to go about it.
We did play a clip of a very, very brave Iranian dissident who is in Iran, who managed to smuggle out a video to us here at GBNews last week. He was saying, please, Keir Starmer, get this over with as quickly as possible, to try to help Trump and the Israelis as much as possible. All right, it was just one person, but that's all we've got to go off, really, because it's gone very dark in Iran, hasn't it? But lots of the other front pages are going off on this doctor strike. And in fact, The Times is going with strikes could cost the NHS more than £3 billion in 3 years. So that's good. Just FYI, we pump more than the entire GDP of Portugal into our NHS every single year. So anyone who says it's underfunded, I think, can we'd probably go to Portugal, can't they? That's next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
What have you been up to? What have you seen?
Well, I've got something first that I'm wondering how many times you had to say in your career, Michael.
Sorry, Prime Minister.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Prime Minister.
I am sorry,
Yes, I
Prime
probably
Minister.
did say it a few times. So this is, what, an adaptation of Yes, Prime Minister?
So this is the very, 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 very last chapter. So the two writers of this, Anthony Jay and Jonathan Lynn. Jonathan Lynn is still writing. The TV show ran in the 80s. Yes, Minister, Yes, Prime Minister. We've had a couple of plays and a large gap. Now we've got I'm Sorry, Prime Minister. This is the end of the sort of end of the line, very end of life. No one's dying, but it's Jim Hacker, the wonderfully inept, pompous, self-serving MP who became Prime Minister. He's now become master of an Oxford college in his own name that he's established with some very dodgy foreign money, but it allows him to stay there forever as master, or so he thought. However, he's carried on speaking and thinking without thought, and in our modern days, the college wants to get rid of him. So there's been a huge backlash against things he said about women, about minorities, about situations. Yeah. So all these themes come in, and then obviously Sir Humphrey, which you would know from the civil service, was his permanent secretary, who was the one that was always bamboozling him with those fantastically long, complicated explanations of things. That was Nigel Hawthorne and the wonderful in the original cast. This time we've got Griff Rhys-Jones playing Jim Hacker. For me, it's very different. It's a little bit broader, very entertaining. The show has always been funny, which is fine. This time they're bringing in cancellation. Should we judge art, themes, thoughts from the past by our modern standards? Also, for me, I found much more beautiful. It's about ageing. This is about people that were masters of their universe. They were kings of their castle.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let me get you the rest of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, starting with The Times. Trump threatens to bomb Iran into the Stone Age. They also, of course, carry the story about the doctors' strikes, and it could cost £3 billion, apparently. The Daily Mail, they go for the same thing, £3 billion of doctors' strikes. The Sun, we saw the whole of the moon. I think they are quoting the Waterboys song there, which is a fantastic song, one of my favourites. But yes, Artemis did see the whole of the moon. They did the flybys. There you go. The Guardian, Trump says Iran can be taken out in one night as peace talks falter. The Telegraph, Trump says I could wipe out Iran tonight. And The Mirror, Fergie's point of no return, which is she dreads being quizzed over links and will never go back. She'll never set foot in America again. Well, there you go. All right, OK. Right, doctor strikes first then. Apparently they're going to cost £3 billion to the NHS. No end in sight. What should we do about these pesky junior doctors?
Well, first of all, they don't like being called junior doctors, do they? So we should definitely continue calling them junior doctors.
What is so offensive a word? How much of a snowflake do you have to be offended by the word junior?
Quite. Well, this is because the doctors, I suppose, have never been told anything negative in their whole lives. They're always very special, wonderful people. I do actually think they are quite special people because we've spent so much money training them up. And then we have a system where you can't afford to pay them what is, frankly, the international market rate, for want of a better way of putting it, which is why you see so many doctors moving to Australia. Australia, for example. We train them up, the Australians get the benefit of it, then we import in doctors from developing countries who statistically have a higher likelihood of committing medical malpractice and negligence and things like that. And these same trade unions who are going on strike block us from training as many British kids who want to become doctors as they're able to do. The whole system is totally kaput, which is, I think, a small way of saying the whole NHS system is totally kaput. And that's not to criticise nurses or the doctors or anything else. The system itself is preventing us from having better health outcomes.
I think a lot of these doctors are very, very selfish, actually. I mean, the medical negligence bill in this country is absolutely sky high, and that's not all because you're so tired. Some of you make huge mistakes and then try and cover it up. That's a fact. And I think most families in Britain have had some tremendous success stories on the NHS and then relatives who've been killed. And that's not good enough for people. And when they go and strike and they take money out, they're taking money away from hospital porters, taking money away from nurses, all of this stuff. You know, I just find it absolutely staggering. But I don't know, Chloe, what would you do for the junior doctors?
I mean, I don't think they should be allowed to strike. I think if you're going to have restrictions on the police, the army, etc., then you should have that for doctors. This is a service that is meant to be there, available to save people's lives. And literally, people die when they do this. And I think that this is going against their Hippocratic oath that they take when they decide that they want to be a doctor. And I completely understand what James has said about the issue of us not offering the international market rate and hence people disappearing to Australia. But I think, as goes for many things with this Labour government, they decided to throw money at things right away when they came in, rather than saying to the doctors and everyone that needed cash in every department, we need to get the economy growing first, and then we might be able to offer you something later. We've ended up in this mess where they just keep on demanding more and more money, which we simply do not have.
Quickly, what would you say?
Yeah, I think the doctors have unrealistic expectations, don't they? But they have been set by previous negotiations, which they succeeded at. The problem is that they're looking to get a rise to make up for the fact that they've been underfunded for a long time. But that's the case for so many of us, and it has to stop somewhere.
All right, I think we're just going to finish with I think, are these live shots? They are live shots of the moon from Artemis 2, and there you go. So yeah, they are having a look at the far side of the moon. I've got some fun facts about Artemis here for you, actually. Did you know that in the ancient Greek religion and mythology, Artemis is the goddess of hunting, the wilderness, wild animals, transitions, nature, vegetation, childbirth, care of children and chastity? There you go. That's what Artemis means, apparently. More on this as we get it. I'll see you in a sec for all the front pages.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. There's going to be plenty of sunny skies over the next couple of days and temperatures are going to be on the rise as we head towards the middle part of the week. It's going to be a bit of patchy cloud around, but it's not going to ruin anyone's day as we head through the week. High pressure out towards the southeast, which is keeping this low pressure towards the northwest away, and we are expecting some clear skies overnight. We did have some cloud across Northern Ireland through this afternoon, but that will melt away, leaving some clear skies here as well. It will be a chilly night to come, especially across the north under those clearer skies, but further south it will still be a little bit mild. Some places staying above double figures as we head towards Tuesday morning. Now there will be